Okay, welcome everybody. Today is Wednesday, October 18th. This is the Orange Township Board of Trustees regular meeting. Mrs. Kraft, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Faust.
Here.
Ms. Knapp.
Here.
Mr. Ringel.
Here.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do we have any public comment today? Mr. Saunders.
We do. For the record, I'm Scott Sanders. I'm director of the Delaware County Regional Planning Commission, and I know many of you at the table and in the crowd. I just happen to be driving by. Not really. But
I mean, you are a resident.
I delivered I delivered the trail grant signed contract for I think that's Green Meadows behind the Orange Point.
Awesome.
I can't take credit for that. That's a county. I mean, I do sit on a committee that chooses which ones to move on, but so I just happen to be bringing that by. I also have I'm sure you got a mailing. I don't know if you processed that yet, but we're announcing that we're moving on Friday after 6 years of talking about it and working on it. We're finally doing that. So that's exciting, and I sent a community profile and some access to other community profiles. We also have a single sheet kind of leave behind that I always provide that just shows things that we have on our website and the resources that we have. I mean, we have such a good relationship with Orange Township that I feel like you guys are already on point with all that. But I did bring one little thing, and as you all know, Michelle Bonney was on our executive committee for a few years, and we appreciate the township allowing her to serve in that role, and now we appreciate you allowing Robin to serve in that role as well. But she had left before we got the chance to give her this little plaque.
Oh.
But it just says that we thank Michelle Bonney for her dedication to and support for planning, including 7 years as a member of the Regional Planning Commission and 5 years on the executive committee. So I'm just going to hand her that.
We need some pictures.
Not a big deal.
Oh, wait, hold on.
What is it?
Right there, yeah.
Not using it, we need to take it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Continued partnership.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Okay, anybody else?
Jen Keggy with the Delaware Public Health District, and just a few updates. It's flu season, COVID season. So we have clinics happening all over the county. We actually have a few coming up. There's one at the fairgrounds actually this Friday. We have one at Berlin High School on October 23rd. If you go to our website, all of them are listed. You can make an appointment. And then with COVID vaccine, anybody 12 and up can get that right now with the availability that we have. And then the only other update is we are still running our levy. And so it's just a renewal levy. It's a 0.7 mil levy, same one that we've had for, 30 some years, way before I had been here. So, a lot of that funds a lot of our extra programs that we do and clinic services. We can't use any of that money for our building. We are all in our building, and hopefully, I think in November we'll have an open house, so I'm sure we'll send out an invitation. And then the last thing is, I was not able to come to the Founders Festival, but our staff had a great time. Talked to a lot of people. Gave away all of our giveaways, so we look forward to continuing to do that as long as you keep having it.
Of course. We enjoyed having them out and being, like we said, they were part of our scavenger hunt, so we were intentionally getting people to stop by, your guys' booth and figure out what you all do, which is great. With COVID stuff, do you guys provide the test kits, like for like positive or negative?
We
to the
have some test
libraries?
kits. I
Wasn't
think the
sure.
libraries are
Okay.
still have them, but
Okay.
we do have some at our office
Okay.
if you happen to need any.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Jen. Okay. Mrs. Connors? Yes.
Good afternoon. I've got a few slides that I brought. Monica Connors, Director of Economic Development for Delaware County. I've been here a year now, believe it or not. In March, I was actually right here in your Township Hall at the Township Association and made a commitment to come to each township and present at a official trustee meeting. And I'm happy to say, some say you save the best for last. This is my 18th out of 18, so this will wrap up my commitment. So I'm really happy to be here with you all. It's where you should be, Delaware County. That's one of our new taglines. I've actually used it on some economic development projects. I think Orange Township's a great example of that. You all have such a great community, parks, trails, diversified economy. You've got some industrial, you've got wonderful residential communities, and a great commercial retail base. So with a great school district. So I commend you for that. If you want to go to the next slide. What I've been telling people, and this slide was in the county's annual meeting, but I like to tell people we're the healthiest, wealthiest, and wisest county in the state of Ohio. And this deck actually proves that. And from an economic development standpoint, that's really important. People want to know that you have an educated workforce. People want to know that you care about health, because that means your employees are going to show up to work, right? And then if there is a problem, that they're covered. And I think the wealthy part, we are blessed with a very high income, tech savvy community, right? So our residents have the highest median household income in the state of Ohio. So it's really helpful from an economic development standpoint when we're trying to attract these new types of industries. So the next slide's going to show you, well, this is kind of the basics of economic development. This is what we're working on every day: expansion, retention, attraction, and entrepreneurship. I'm happy to say I've had those types of conversations, all four of those conversations with companies right here in Orange Township. So you're so blessed to have a diverse economy here. The next slide is going to show you a little bit about what we're thinking about with attraction. So Scott Sanders actually was kind enough to develop this map for me. And it shows you the driving distance between Intel Honda EV plant and the Honda Marysville plant, which is going through $1 billion retooling. So they're going to be shifting over to an EV platform in Marysville. That's going to transform even the supplier base that they have. So the importance of this map is really to show you that Delaware County is positioned nicely to capture all sorts of suppliers from each three of these massive investments that total almost $30 billion for the state of Ohio and will mean thousands of jobs. And so when we're talking about attraction, that's what we're really talking about, is jobs of the future. I should let you know our strategic plan, our economic development strategic plan, we're sending it to print hopefully next week. So I look forward to the opportunity to come back and really dig into that a little bit more deeply to show you what industries we're going to be pursuing, some stats about our workforce and the people that live here and where they work, and why it's important to think about, we can't rest on our laurels, right? We are the healthiest, wealthiest, wisest, but it's going to take a lot of work to stay there. So that's more to come on that. I think the last slide really just, again, is my commitment to coming here to establish a relationship with you all. I think we know that relationships take time and effort and trust, and you can't just expect the day that you need something shouldn't be the first day that you reach out to somebody, right? And so I feel comfortable that we've had some really great conversations here with Orange Township, and I look forward to the future with you. And Michelle knows how to get a hold of me as well as some of you others. So thank you for the time today, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you. You guys have any questions?
I just want to thank you for taking the time to come to Orange Township. And yeah, we'll say that the best was saved for last. And we appreciate the partnership that we have with you and your office and the county. And we look forward to continuing that partnership to make sure we can keep our economy diversified here in Orange Township.
Great, thanks.
Thank you so much for
All
coming.
right, thank you.
Okay. Do we have any general announcements?
Trick or treat reminder?
Trick or treat is the 31st, Tuesday from 6 to 8. Let's see. Just a reminder, the Route 23 Connect public meetings are Wednesday, November 8th at the fairgrounds or Tuesday, November 14th at the Nationwide Hotel and Conference Center. That's here in the township. Make a Difference Day is November 18th. Connectionsvolunteercenter.org if you want to get connected with that. It's always a great day just to get out within the community and help out some people who need help. I did also see, I think on Jen's paperwork from the Health Department, that Christmas light recycling, Christmas lights recycling is going to be at the library, our library in Orange, from November 15th to January 15th. So as we're plugging our lights in and getting our homes decorated, find dead ones, we can get rid of those quickly.
What do they do?
I don't know, actually. I know.
Shoot, I wish I don't know.
I know.
Wait, do you know what?
Do you know what we do?
What
With the Christmas lights?
Christmas lights that get recycled?
We worked with Accurate IT in the past for any of our electronics.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if that's who Jennifer is still working with, and then they recycle.
Gotcha. Yeah. I always love your newsletter. It has lots of really good information. That's where I get like most of my announcements.
I didn't know they were recycled.
You can also recycle electronics at Ohio Mulch. We've been doing some purging at home. So like computers, laptops, that kind of stuff. Yeah, they have like a trailer behind it. Right.
Can't wait for that
Keep-
one day they have it. So once a year. They
Oh,
have
right,
it.
yeah. Keep things out of the landfill. Okay. Any agenda changes?
I have a few. Under the consent agenda, we added a blanket certificate for the fire department regarding contracted services, a total $18,000. We need to remove the J and A construction consent agenda item, and I need to modify the executive language on item. Okay, let's see. Item B, I believe. Okay. It would. Item B, so the executive language currently reads to consider the appointment, demotion, and compensation of a public employee or official, and we will be adding to that in addition and or investigation of complaints against a public employee.
Okay.
And that is all I have.
I'm looking at the new consent agenda for the fire. As you said, we were removing the J&A construction for the crack ceiling one. We're not ready
Yes,
for that
this
one.
will be.
Okay. Chief, can you give us some more info on the blanket certificate, please?
Yes, that's just for our contractor services to make sure we get through the end of the year. So we believe it's going to be roughly about a little under 15,000 to get us through for some of our things that we pay monthly.
Okay.
But we're just moving the whole thing so that way we have a little extra change in case.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Did you guys have any other questions on the consent agenda?
I have none.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-261, approving the electronic record of the proceedings from the regular trustee meeting on October 4th, 2023, and Resolution 23-262, approving purchase orders, then and now purchase orders, and blanket purchase orders as listed.
Second?
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mr. Ringel?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay. Mr. Duffy, our development and zoning report.
Good afternoon, trustees. Two meetings to report for you. Second, really. Zoning Commission will meet next Tuesday, October 24th at 6:30 p.m. for a continuation from their September 12th meeting for rezoning application ZON-23-03, also known as Orange Cove. They have updated their site plan and resubmitted. They are now requesting to rezone approximately 11.684 acres of land, currently zoned farm residential, to SFPRD for 21 single-family residential homes.
And I saw there's a sign in front of the property today, which I hadn't. I probably just don't drive them by.
Well, it was requested,
Oh,
so
okay, great.
we were able to accommodate for that.
Great. That's awesome.
It was requested, and we that was a practice that we had done in years past,
Okay.
but that practice kind of went away during COVID. our old signs were not in great shape, so we had to order some new signs. So that I
A new
believe that
practice.
will be the new standard moving
Okay.
forward for rezoning. So we do have 2 signs, so we can put them out on properties.
That way, just if anybody's, because if you don't get basically the invitation that it's near your home, you might not know about it.
Yeah.
So awesome, love it, thank you.
And then we do have Board of Zoning Appeals meeting tomorrow evening, Thursday, October 19th at 6 p.m. Here in this room. There are 2 applications on that agenda. Both are for area variances for accessory structures encroaching on a rear 35-yard setback. One is on River's Edge Drive, and the other is on Green Meadows Drive.
Okay. Do we have any zoning questions?
I do not.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, Mr. Bowers, operations.
Good afternoon, Board. The first thing on the operations report today is a resolution accepting and adopting the changes to the Parks and Athletic Field Use Policy. This was implemented a couple years ago, and over a couple years of growth, it's been realized that we need to make a couple tweaks. The changes that were made to the current version that you're seeing really just focus on the inclusive opportunities within our parks and making sure we're covering what we need to cover as a township. To include parks and athletic facilities and potential for staff involvement for special events or tournaments or things of that nature. Second thing before the board is an adoption of a digital speed limit sign policy. Years and years ago, the township has had a policy in place. The current version before you is an updated version of that has been in the works for a few months. We do have several HOAs interested in the digital speed limit signs. So the revision of the policy in front of you is being recommended for adoption. And the final thing on the operations agenda is for approval from the board to apply for a CTIC grant from Preservation Parks. I will note in the resolution there's a typo. We actually applied for a $60,000 grant, not a $50,000 grant. But part of the grant terms is to have a resolution from the board authorizing the ability for us to go apply for it.
Okay. And the digital sign, speed limit sign policy, just to make people aware. So what we talked about and what's in here is that the community that's interested in it will purchase the parts and pieces, basically, right? And then the township will install it, and they're not charged for the HOA is not charged for the manpower to install it. They're just charged for the actual
For materials.
materials.
Yes, ma'am.
What has changed from the prior policy?
The prior sign, speed limit signs?
Yeah.
The prior policy had a share the cost, a 50-50 share the cost thing, and some vague language on the maintenance and when the unit would become, what would happen to the unit when it became unmaintainable. And it came up here recently where one was damaged to the point of no repair, and we weren't able to make repairs to it. So now the HOA would like that is replaced, and so it initiated this conversation of what to do going forward. We want to put it before the board for conversation and to have a new updated policy. So the latest one, I think, is roughly 5, 6, 7 years old, somewhere in there. So just modernizing the language.
So what was the damage that was done to that sign that you're talking about?
It was ran over.
It was what?
It was ran over. Hit by a vehicle.
And so the vehicle didn't cover the cost of it?
It was there was no identity. Yeah, hit and run. There was no person involved.
Which subdivision was it?
It was Walker Woods.
Okay. Yeah, so, I'm sorry, was this discussed at the last meeting?
I don't think so. They came and did a presentation, but they didn't.
They did? Okay. 'Cause
Waverly Place came, the HOA for Waverly Place was here.
Okay, yeah, because I'm sorry I was not at that meeting, but, so I think we came up with the old policy, I thought it was 2018,
Yeah, about
right? And
5-ish
so,
years ago.
and that was kind of, that policy was my idea, I think. But we were paying 50%, so why are we changing that policy? Are we getting any pushback?
Well, I think we thought about the approach of how we're handling street signs. So the street sign replacement is that the HOA does pay them in full, and then we handle the maintenance and moving forward.
And installation.
So, installation. So I think that's how this conversation got to where it is today.
Yeah, but to me, like the street signs, I don't know how much money HOAs have, but I think it's a win-win because we get residents and people to slow down and it helps with safety and we don't have to hire additional police. And I think they're pretty effective. So I thought as a public safety service that paying for half of it was reasonable. Have you got any pushback from anyone that?
Well, I think if we do have, if the township pays for a portion of it, it's something we can consider in our budget, because I think we'll get a significant amount of requests. We have about 3 HOAs that have been interested in it, so if it is a 50-50 share, I think we would expect a lot.
But it has been 50-50 all these years.
I
Correct.
think we've had an influx of people interested in it here
Just
recently.
recently, but so it hasn't been in the budget all these years.
I don't know if it's been specifically allocated. I'm assuming we just take out of a certain appropriation, and so
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
that is something we can do. It's just keep in mind that needs to be funds set.
Budget, yeah. I
They
wonder
were
how.
probably paying 50% of the labor too, right? Whereas now they're paying 0% of the labor?
No,
Or were
Correct.
they just 50% of the
no, it's
materials?
just. I think we were installing it as well. Correct.
My understanding from the previous language that it was a 50-50 cost of materials only, and we still handled the installation and maintenance to a certain point.
Yeah. Because I mean, because they have to pay for half, I doubt they're just going to be coming in asking for 4 or 5 of them. How many have requested it?
As of now, there's 3 HOAs of interest, but again, I mean, we would either need to set max
Like,
how much we would be
yeah.
willing to do.
Like, how much was it in prior years? Do we have any idea? I think wasn't a lot. Like,
I don't know if we've
20,000
ever
or something,
really
yeah.
budgeted for this, and to be honest, the policy may have not been. I don't know. It's hard to tell with previous leadership. That policy was more of a practice, or depending on
yeah, I have a copy of
the year.
the program. It was, yeah, there's a procedure. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that we voted on, but I have the procedure here. But it basically said that request the county engineer to perform a speed study, and then the HOA signs an agreement. They pay. Well, how much are the signs now?
They're a little under $4,000, roughly.
4,000? Oh, that's not too bad. So in the old days, they were 5,000 somehow. So are these same size as the existing one, right?
Yes, they're comparable.
Yeah. So maybe they've come down in price.
Yeah, I think our most recent quote was 4,000.
That's a good deal. And then township will install the signs. So.
Correct. But I mean, if we're gonna do $2,000 of our share each time.
But how many do we have waiting? I mean, it was like 3
Waverly
or
Place
4.
was asking for at least 2, right? Was it
3.
3 in?
Technically, we've already done the REA for them, so the county engineers recommended 2. They would like 3. I have another HOA who would like 2 additional to what they have, and then 2 other HOAs who would like 2 apiece.
Have you told them that they're 4,000 each for Waverly?
They're aware of the rough cost
And they're
of what
okay
they would be
with
looking at. I've put off those conversations till the board made a recommendation on this policy, but they are generally aware that that is the direction
They're
we
okay
are
with
looking
that.
to head.
They have enough money to do that. Because I know some subdivisions might not have the same resources that Waverly Place would.
I have not gotten into the discussions about their financial outlook or anything. I'm just trying to give them information and give them costs and give them a potential outlook of solutions.
Were they aware that we were paying 50% up until now?
They're aware of the previous
The one
agreements.
that was damaged, too,
Yes.
Yeah.
They were aware of
Yeah.
that.
I just think it helps. I mean, I doubt we would get a request for more than 5 or 10 a year. I mean, if that.
I don't know, but I think we would have to try to set some limitations to it.
Yeah,
That was
maximum
the
a year
case.
at 20,000 or something. But I think it helps everyone because it stops people from speeding. It helps,
It stops you from
protect-
speeding until you get past it.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not a requirement,
right.
it's more of a desire.
it doesn't necessarily. But something else? Well, because it doesn't give you a ticket when you go
No.
by it. It's not a good
People still,
cop.
I mean, there's 2 on my street. One has been damaged, so now there's 1. But
Yeah, but what's nice about it is that a lot of people tend to think people are speeding and they're not sometimes. And, if it shows you're going 27, but I think it's a good reminder. A lot of people don't realize how fast they're going. So I found a tremendous value in the program and people slowing down, and even other townships are now having them. So I don't have a strong preference, but I feel like it's a kind of a public service.
And that's why because initially the policy came out, it had them covering the cost of the installation and like the manpower. And I said I was not comfortable with that. So I was like, no, our guys are already working. We're not paying them overtime or anything for that. So let's take that out and give that as this, this part of the service, and then they can cover the parts and pieces of the materials. So that's where I was thinking.
We want to consider for adoption the policy then that we have in front of us, and potentially bring it up for discussion again in the future when we've got a better estimate of future budgetary needs, or do we want to do something else?
I mean, do we have any money in the budget for this at all?
Yeah, you get money in your operating expense.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not specifically allocated for this, but if this is the direction we go, I'd almost suggest having like a certain amount that we would be willing to expend.
We can create an appropriation.
Yeah.
And then would it be like,
For next
we'll do 10 a year, and if you ask, your subdivision asks, and it's
Yeah,
11,
yeah.
then sorry about it?
We just wait for the next Sunday. Yeah, I kind of like that. 'cause
And I think that same appropriation would probably count for signs as well. A larger subdivision that would like to do signs, that, you know, if there was similar setup to what Ms. Bonnie was saying, that, you know, there's the labor side of that too, and at some point that same pool of money would be involved if we did have to replace a significant amount of signs
For what?
for a
Street
subdivision.
signs?
So now that we're in
Street signs or street
Correct.
signs?
street signs as well, it'd be the same kind of policy. So if a large
Oh,
amount of
yeah.
those would need to replace, that same unexpected operating expense would be from the same pile.
Yeah, I would think too that the HOA would have, do they have insurance? I would think
Yeah,
they would,
HOAs have insurance.
they would have, I would think that that sign would be covered under insurance loss damage, you know, so.
That's my neighborhood.
Yeah, can you
I
check
send
on that?
them an-
'Cause
I send them an
usually,
note.
if you, I mean, I don't have an HOA where I'm at, but, most do, and they cover like damage to, like, if someone runs in your monument sign in the front or destroys your pond, or, you know, and liability insurance too. So I would check on, for that one, because I think they're pretty sturdy. I would just someone hit that one. I don't know. I mean, I'd be in favor of maybe setting a $10,000 or $20,000 limit per year. Or we can, or do we want to?
I would need to table this.
Julie?
I was going to say, I do have a comment on the insurance item. If the sign is, from the discussion, from the discussion, I'm hearing that the sign, obviously the question is who's paying for it, but the maintenance and future replacement would be township's responsibility. Is that correct? And I'm guessing it would be located in the right of way.
Correct.
And so that would not, so that means it's the township. So that's
So
something
their
that would not be
insurance-
covered under association insurance.
So their insurance not covered, even though they
Correct.
paid for it.
Correct. And you're not wrong. There, for association-owned property, someone runs
Like
over
a
their
sign.
monument sign, absolutely covered by their insurance. But because, obviously, the question is who's paying for the installation of it, but once it's installed, repair and maintenance is the township's obligation, that'd be a township. It wouldn't be covered by association.
So what if they had like they were having a block party and they had tents set up, you know, in the middle of the cul-de-sac, which is also township property, and then a terrible storm came and blew everything over? Would that be covered because it would still be something located in the right of way, or is it because it's permanently fixed?
The question is whether there is, so that situation, that wouldn't be covered under, or the township wouldn't necessarily be responsible for that under township insurance. Just because something's in the right of way doesn't mean
Yeah,
that it
would the
makes it
HOA
township's
cover-
obligation.
Should cover that.
Potentially, yeah.
But it's different than this, than a sign.
Yeah.
But you should still check. Just in case. Maybe they don't know that.
So is that the direction I'm
Do we
getting,
wanna-
is
do we need
to
to
table
or-
this to reflect the 50/50 share and then allocate a specific amount each year?
I don't love the idea of allocating a specific amount, because what if all of a sudden a subdivision that hasn't asked for one before comes in and they're just like too late to the game?
We can
That's
always
that's
change
my
it.
only concern.
I guess my fear is if every HOA comes.
Correct,
and then
right.
that-
That's why I
that
kind of
takes
like-
away
But
from
they didn't do that
maintenance
before.
money.
I mean, we did it, I think 2018, 2019, there were probably like 8 total, maybe 10.
Signs.
Yeah, because it's still an incredible expense. I mean, not
Right.
every HOA
And that's why,
necessarily
could we do
has
75-25?
Or perhaps
I mean,
we
expense for the HOA.
make a differentiation where you have a particular homeowners association or subdivision, the first sign, the first 2 signs,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
cost sharing,
right.
but then any additional
Yeah,
they
that I
pay
could
Yeah.
get behind.
upfront.
Yeah. I don't think it's fair to penalize subdivisions that have more money in the bank that are able to pay versus ones that don't. Like,
But then you also have to think about Walker Wood has 500 homes and Waverly
Right.
has 100.
Yeah.
exactly.
So that's
Right.
not fair to limit Walker Wood
Right.
to potentially 2 signs and Waverly
When they
gets
have
the
more road in
same.
front.
They
Yeah, right.
You know,
Well, it wouldn't.
One per year, maybe
It
going
wouldn't
to
necessarily
2
be a
per year.
limitation on the number of signs. It'd be, okay, the first sign from your subdivision, the township would split the cost. But if you'd like additional signs, you have to pay for it. And that would be a policy applicable to all subdivisions.
So they get one at 50%, and then the rest are 100.
I would say
Yeah.
Or two at
maybe
50%,
two.
and the rest are 100.
What about like a big subdivision like Glen Oak, I think.
Well, then they get two at
They get
50%.
two, it should
and then-
be, yeah, maybe that'd be fine, just two.
Two at
And then
50%,
And if it
and then-
becomes a big problem, we could change it. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
We probably need to tweak the language.
Yeah, I'm not
Table
ready.
this.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
be ready for that yet.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
It's a good discussion, though.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 signs, 50/50, and
And
then anything further would be at
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and if it ends up being some, we can always change it in the future. It's not permanent.
okay.
Okay. All right. Any other operations things?
No, ma'am.
All right. And make a, oh, do you guys have questions?
Wait, so Julie, does that make it, did you say township property? Does that sign is now township property, correct?
Okay. No, but that's the athletic use, so just call it a- Okay.
So wait, if it's township property, wait, are you saying that our insurance would not cover it?
Township insurance would, I guess it would be treated, just like any other piece of township property located in the right of way. If it got hit and, or, if it got hit and it was covered by your insurance, then your insurance.
Oh, wait, so are you gonna check with the township insurance on
I
that?
can.
Yeah, can you, because that might just be fully covered if it's ours. And then,
I just don't know with the cost sharing. That makes it complicated.
Yeah.
no, I don't think it does because she says it's our property.
Okay.
It's now township. It's like, I guess
Which I think
it's
is
like
what
if someone
language said.
donated a fire truck
Once it's
to
installed, it's
us
ours.
and then, or something much smaller than fire truck, a vehicle or anything, then that would still be our property, so.
I think,
Right?
I'm thinking the same
Yeah,
thing.
check on that because I bet it would be covered. And it's pretty small, so it wouldn't change our insurance. Shouldn't.
Okay, we're gonna approve the parks and athletic use.
For parks.
Oh, yeah.
I make a motion to approve resolution 23-263, accepting and adopting the changes to the Orange Township Parks and Athletic Field Use Policy.
And sorry, what were the changes on that?
See the red line in here. It mostly just kind of added events, right? The word events, right?
Correct. As I mentioned earlier, the language was made to be more inclusive for potential activities, events, and tournaments, other things that could take place in parks. Because the current policy that was created a couple years ago only alluded to athletic field use and didn't include parks. And now we're seeing more requests for events, for tournaments, for other activities in the parks besides field use rental.
So more than just the actual soccer field, the entire
Yeah,
complex
try to
kind of
be
thing.
more inclusive with the language for things that could potentially come up within the township.
So, like, example was the disc golf tournament.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because
Because he never had a policy, so we just had to figure it out. Awesome, love that.
So it's still called field use because it's a field.
and parks, it's adding
And parks.
if somebody wants to do an event in one of our parks, but it's not necessarily a field. So
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay. I make a motion, I'll just read the whole thing again. I make a motion to approve resolution 23-263, accepting and adopting the changes to the Orange Township Parks and Athletic Field Use Policy.
Second?
Mr. Ringel,
Yes?
Ms. Knapp,
Yes.
Mrs. Faust.
Yes. So we're not
Thank
doing
you.
this. Mrs. Kraft. No, fire chief, do you have anything?
You missed his grant.
Community
Oh,
trails.
just kidding.
Right, bottom
We're
of
getting
page
there.
9.
Thank you. All right, I make a motion to approve resolution 23-264, authorizing the Director of Operations to apply for the Community Trails Improvement Grant from Preservation Parks for $50,000.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Yours has 60,000. Is the
60,000?
technical-
Yes, thank you. For $60,000 and agreeing to participate and abide by the grant terms for the Bale Canyon Road widening Phase 3.
Second?
Mr. Ringel,
Yes?
Ms. Knapp,
Yes.
Mrs. Faust.
Yes. Okay. Now fire. Do you have anything, Chief?
Another thing I'd like to pass on is thanks for the residents who came out on Sunday. We had open house, 361, 362. It was just basically open the doors, welcome the community, allowing them to see how the firefighters live and look at the trucks and stuff. So we appreciate everyone that did come out and get to talk to the firefighters, and they enjoyed it.
Yeah, great. And I was able to stop out to both stations, and so I thank you to the fire staff for cleaning up the space and welcoming us into your home and showing us your rooms and all that kind of stuff. So thanks is mutual. Okay. Mrs. Kraft's fiscal.
Okay. The bank rec for September 30th was done at the 1st of October, ending cash position was $30,320,000, $320,414.56. I'm trying to keep as much as I can in Star, Ohio right now, just because of the interest opportunity there. So we've got 17.1 million with Star, Ohio, and 11 with Fifth Third. Our department balances, general is at 8.9 million, roads is at 3.2, fire is at 8.6, and parks is at 4.3. Our expenses through September 30th are 14.6 million, and our revenue, which is not going to change much through the rest of the year, is 18 million. Remember, we just got our property tax disbursement at the end of August. And our Veterans Memorial balance, we took that money out since you can see all the work being done. And then we applied for money from the state of Ohio for our grant from there. But our balance is $30.82. So, and then we have our community fund at $1,359.72. It probably makes sense to have a discussion about combining those two into one versus having two accounts with DCF. Probably makes sense just to combine those into one at some point.
And currently, the community fund brought in fees from
the parade,
the Founders Fest, that
donations.
Kind of stuff. Donations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would we want to combine them after the Veterans Project is done?
Yeah, I think
Just to
so.
be clean?
Just in case. Yeah, because I mean the schools, I just saw them doing a walk last week, so they were doing a fundraiser. The middle school was.
Okay.
So I know that we'll be getting money from them probably February-ish.
Okay.
So that's usually a couple $1,000s. So I think we wait until we get all that kind of open the Veterans Memorial, and then we talk about combining those accounts into one. Okay. Any questions on the financials?
I have a couple questions. So just when we add up the fund departments, not really questions, more statements. So I add up the general, roads, fire, and parks. That's $25 million, right?
Okay.
So that is saying, just so the community is aware, that means that we have that money allocated for the $3.2 million for the roads. So that's going to pay for the projects that we currently are doing and projects in the future and that kind of stuff, right?
The $3.2 million is
Right,
for
for
the
roads, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So.
Yep, it is.
Okay.
And cemetery grants. So Silas can help with this, but they would like to buy this software. I think it's the same software Berlin Township uses, if I remember correctly. I remember looking at the cemetery software. So they applied for a grant and hoping to get all, what was it, like $3,000 or $5,000 for the software. We got $816. So when I look at all the steps that I have to go through and the board has to go through and operations has to go through, I don't know that it fiscally, makes a lot of sense to jump through hoops for $816, but it needs to go before the board for you guys to make the decision to reject or accept the grant. So that's
Are
what's
we
before
able to
you.
purchase the program with other money that we have?
Yeah,
How many
it'll be part
hours?
of next year's appropriations.
Will there be any future negative ramifications for declining a grant award?
I guess it's undetermined. I think with the infrequency of the applications, I would be surprised if it was a lasting effect, but don't know. Haven't been down that path before.
This is a grant specifically for cemetery uses, right?
Correct, and
Okay.
it appears it's a very competitive one with not a big dollar amount that can go to any specific entity. It's capped at like $5,000, and during the OTA, I sat through a session on it. It's pretty aggressive as far as the amount of people going after the grant, so might result in the lower amounts being awarded.
And what was it for the cemetery?
Yeah, for software for the cemetery.
Oh, software.
Yeah, and I just gave you guys kind of.
Like how many hours, do you think? Is this like 50 hours?
No, it's just a lot. It's just a lot of
things.
back and forth. I mean, you'll see we have to go to the auditor of state. We have to go to the Delaware County auditors, you guys, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then, that doesn't count what operations has to do as far as reporting for the grant.
Plus like the county time.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of back and forth. I mean,
wow.
it's a lot of busy work. I mean, we've set up a number of these. We've been learning a lot over the last 12 months on grant management. Thankfully, Todd has been great at that since he did a lot of that at the state of Ohio. But it's not a small process, as you guys have seen. Every time I feel like every meeting I'm bringing something else related to a grant or something like that to the board. So it's not a small process, but we're trying to better define kind of on our fiscal end, it's all involved, so that's why.
A follow-up question, do we anticipate applying for grants from the same entity in the future as of right now?
I would say unknown, but there's no current plans.
Which entity was it?
The
The
Department of
grant.
Commerce.
Department of Commerce, correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems kind of, we don't usually apply for grants for that. So maybe it would be a good point.
So it's before you guys make a decision one way or the other. We'll do the work if you guys want us to do the work. It's kind of, I'm gonna leave it in your hands as to what you would like us to do.
Are we buying the software anyway? For sure.
Probably,
We would like to appropriate
yeah.
for it next
Well,
year.
it'll be up before you guys next year to discuss.
5,000.
Yeah, somewhere between 3 and 5.
I don't know if you don't think it's worth it. I mean, there's 16 steps here.
A lot of back and forth.
That is a lot. I would be inclined to say no.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I got. And just, we are almost fully, we've got another employee. We got Todd back now, so Leanne will still be out for, I'm not sure for how long. So, from a fiscal staffing standpoint. So.
Gotcha. So, and just, you got the budget done on October 1st, so, and you said you closed the books for last year. That's really fast, so thank you.
You're welcome.
For doing that.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for making that a priority and doing a great job with that. Okay. Any other fiscal things?
Nope.
All right. Make a motion to approve resolution 23-265, rejecting the fiscal year 2024 cemetery grant assessment agreement, division of real estate and professional licensing.
Second?
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mr. Ringgold?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay. Ms. Bonnie?
Yes, a couple things under administration report. So the first item in front of you is in regards to the Orange Township JED. I did notify the board that the city of Worthington had a publication issue as far as getting their hearing in place and their legislation passed. So we were notified, and because of the delay in their publications, we have to repass this agreement in front of you. So those two resolutions, one is to rescind the one that we approved in August, and then the second one is to reapprove. Same language, nothing has changed as far as our agreement goes. And the city of Worthington truly apologize for their administrative issue, but we got it resolved. Worthington did pass their JED contract on Monday, and we are the last step, right? Okay.
So what will the effective date be of the contract if we are to vote to approve it?
It will be 30 days after the execution of the contract.
Which will be
So
today.
there is a referendum period,
Oh.
and so it would be 30 days after.
By all parties, I'm assuming. So as soon, just so I can be educated. So boards, if I get the board signed today, we have Worthington sign. As soon as they sign, that's when the 30 days starts ticking.
Okay, so we'll
Okay.
sign before we leave.
Yeah, I have it. We have one ready
Yes,
for you.
yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Ready to go.
Okay. All right, can we just do that one real quick?
Sure. Yeah,
All
there's
right,
two
we good with that
resolutions.
one? I make a motion to approve resolution 23-266, rescind resolution 23-232.
Second?
Mr. Ringgold?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. I make a motion to approve resolution 23-267, resolution approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of a joint economic development district contract by and between the city of Worthington, Ohio, and Orange Township, Delaware County, Ohio.
Second?
Mr. Ringgold?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next two items is employee related. So the first one is a wage adjustment request for our zoning inspector, Andrew Koenig. Am I saying that? Koenig. I apologize. I just can't say names when I'm up in here. Anyways, but so the wage adjustment reflects an additional responsibility that we believe would be a consistent responsibility. Essentially, I would like Andrew to sit here as I can focus on the board and present, and he can handle the audio and visual equipment, which would be a huge help moving forward. So that's reflected in here. And it's a similar, we've done it with previous employees when our previous zoning enforcement officer, Brett, when he stepped in and helped with some of the visual audio things as well as our mapping. So it's not, I don't think it's unheard of. We believe this adjustment is reasonable, and we value Andrew and thank you for his willing to take an additional responsibility. This next one, since we're talking employee matters, the next one is to appoint an administrative spot labor position. As Ms. Kraft has stated, there are some staffing shortages in the fiscal department. And so we would like to rehire Nick Sanchez-Zarcos, who was our HR intern in the past, and he has been willing to step in and help on the fiscal side of things. He would be able to do about 8 hours a week, but any little bit helps, especially with the fiscal office with end of the year payouts, budget, all those sorts of things. So we would like to have him at least be part-time for the rest of this year.
When did you work here?
Last year?
Yeah, last year.
And he went to Spain.
So those are the two employee matters. The last two items is obsolete items, which is the final round of Fire Kings that we have obsolete. I think is final. I don't know. I have to look at Val for that. But we are cleaning those out as we continued on with our records retention project. And the last item is recognizing October birthdays and anniversaries. So here I go. October birthdays is firefighter Bachman, October 8th. Our parks manager, Mike Kelly, October 10th. Our U.S. zoning officer, Eric Gayetsky, October 21st. Firefighter Adam Eisen, October 22nd. And HR, Mike Mitzer, October 23rd. Happy birthday. Employee anniversaries, we have firefighter Dang, 2 years on October 6th. Firefighter Grubb, 2 years on October 6th. Firefighter Harris, 2 years on October 6th. Parks assistant, Kim Mahaney, 2 years on October 6th. Administrative manager Valerie Bunting, 3 years on October 12th. Firefighter Williams, 4 years on October 9th. Our payroll fire administrative assistant Patty Lewis, 14 years on October 8th. That's a big one. Firefighter Looney, 15 years, also big, on October 22nd. And firefighter Ray, 17 years on October 12th. So thanks, everyone. That's all I have.
Okay. Interesting. I was originally hired in October of '98. My original hire date.
October is a
It
popular
must be a
hire.
big
Yeah.
month. Yeah, the end of October. I remember the exact date.
Okay, I make a motion to approve resolution 23-269, establishment of compensation. 268, establishment of compensation for zoning inspector Andrew Koenig.
Second?
Mr. Ringel?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. I make a motion to approve resolution 23-269, appointment to position of administrative spot labor and establishment of compensation.
Second?
Mr. Ringel?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. I make a motion to approve resolution 23-270, finding certain personal property not needed for public use, obsolete, or unfit for the use for which it was acquired, to have no value, and ordering it to be auctioned on GovDeals, Inc. to be discharged or salvaged.
Did we discuss what that was already?
Yes, it is
fire.
the remaining Fire Kings.
Oh, the fire
that we
cabinets.
don't
Okay,
use.
that's right. All right, the cabinets, the
Mhm.
fiber cabinets.
Yeah,
And what is the range of, do we think we'll get for those?
Not
So
a whole
any-
lot.
Do they have to pick them up?
Yes.
They're very heavy.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been an experience to remove them from this building.
Probably pay people to take them away. Second?
Yeah, sir.
Mr. Ringel?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay. Now we're going to go into exec, right? Okay. I make a motion to approve resolution 23-271, enter into executive session. Adjourn into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code section 121.22G8 for the purpose of considering confidential information related to the marketing plans, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance that is directly related to a request for economic development assistance that is to be provided or administered administered under Revised Code 715, 5709.73-5709.75, and/or Revised Code 715. The executive session is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant or the public or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with a proposed economic development project, and consider the appointment, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official and/or investigation of complaints against a public employee, and concerning a dispute that is the subject of imminent litigation pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G3.
Second?
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes, invited to attend are the trustees, fiscal officer, Michelle Bonney, Orange Township Legal Counsel, Silas Bowers, and Mike Kremnitz,
And Chief McNeil.
and Chief McNeil. Should they? Okay. All right, we are back on. Okay, we are going to make a motion to approve resolution 23-273, return to regular.
72.
Yep, 272, return to regular session.
Second?
Mr. Ringel? Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes?
And I just want to note for the record that Trustee Ringel just left this meeting as he would like to recuse himself for the last item on the agenda. So I guess if I can continue on. So new business. So over the past several months, we've been looking at going into contract with Public Finance Council. It's my understanding that this is a very specialized type of legal service that we would need for economic development tools. Our general counsel did provide a recommendation, which this was one of them, one of the firms, and we did our research and our due diligence, and we would like to recommend Squire, Patton, and Boggs as our legal services for Public Finance Council, and that can include various things, creating TIFs, JED, anything JED related. There's been conversations at potentially a new community authority next year with some recent legislation changes. So any type of economic tools that the township's able to do, this council would specialize in that and help us facilitate. This firm in particular has done things very locally. I have references from City of Delaware and Westerville. I don't have any necessarily specific township because again we're an urban township. I think we're at the forefront of this, and we want to take advantage of economic tools that we are fortunate that can be taken with our commercial areas in particular. So this is my recommendation. Our primary counsel, his name is Greg Daniels. So he would be that, and then the backups with this agreement showed his legal fees and the services that he offers, and then I shared the relevant projects to the board.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds good. Thanks for your work on that.
Thank you for working on that. Yep.
And I think I'm not sure how much we'll do this year. So this is part of we'll have his services on our organizational meeting as they update if the fees are updated. And but I wanted to lock something in now in case we wanted to start kind of something ahead and introduce ourselves. So
Thank you so much.
So there should be a resolution.
Yeah, there is.
And that would be 273.
I make a motion to approve resolution 23-273, approving an engagement agreement with Squire Patton Boggs US LLP for legal services.
Second?
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay. Make a motion to approve resolution 23-274, meeting adjourned.
Second?
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs.